Thank you all for coming. Better ask the obligatory questions. How many people here have got a Chromebook? I know somebody's got a Chromebook. You got them with you? Yeah. Some of you have. Okay, this one's mine. Looks a bit like a MacBook. Most of them do, except when you come to pay for it. However, I'll borrow the Mac so that we can show you the slides because the HDMI isn't working. So the first thing I'll show you is a Chromebook, and I really want to talk about what's going to happen in education. And actually, it's not in this country, but in North America and in the United States. But what happens there is very influential. We're influenced by what happens there, so I don't think this doesn't affect it. Very good. It's one of my favourite quotes. Prediction is difficult, particularly if it involves the future. So when we're asked to solve a difficult problem about the future, we look in the past. And we look at our theories and see, do our theories apply to the past? It's a classic thing you do with weather forecasting. It's a bit backwards. So, this is the hardware for the poor man's MacBook Air. So this one's got a very nice screen. Very nice screen. Weighs about £3, full day battery life. It's like a sales talk, isn't it? £220, wireless, Bluetooth, no Ethernet. Technical thing about the CPU, good enough. Not good enough for heavy duty compilations and running data analysis, but good enough for your day-to-day activities. One USB 2. USB 3 really important because you can plug in an external hard disk and it runs quick. And it's got can you read the stuff at the bottom from the back?
Oh really?
Okay, I'm sorry about that. I don't think I'll lift them. Okay, it's got 4 gig of RAM, 16 gigabytes on the state disk, 10 gigabytes is available to you, 6 is used by Pro, something like that. It's got a slot for an SD memory card from a camera, so you've got plenty of extra storage if you want it. No internal expansion, everything is soldered in. It's a good feature in some ways. Software. So it's got a polished GUI, a bit like Apple. It's got a secure BIOS and boot. It's Linux underneath. You sign in with your Google account ID and password. And when I was signing in at the conference, I thought, oh, people know my Google account. What they have to do is what you type in something in security. But anyway, that's where it is. There's a default configuration on Chromebook is anybody can do that. You pick up somebody's Chromebook, and you can log in with your Google ID, and your stuff is separate from theirs, and they can't see yours, and you can't see theirs. That's actually great in many ways, because it doesn't matter whose Chromebook you're using. But anyway, that's the way it works. You can pay extra for remote administration, which schools love, and businesses. You can place into developer mode, which gives you root access. If you do that, you get a power wash that wipes all the user data. So you can't put the machine into developer mode and then snoop the user data. Right? They've thought about this. They've thought about this and about the user needs. And I think their developers have been strongly influenced by the success of Apple. You can then install Linux as a guest OS, and I can show you on this machine when we get a moment. So it's not overwritten in code, it's just sort of running alongside on top of. Not quite a VM, but similar to that, and it works well. So how do you do all right? So what's the timeline of the Chromebook? Any guesses? When were you first able to buy a Chromebook? 5 years ago, 10 years ago, last year?
5 years ago.
Okay, well, Google's founded, and then they have the Chrome browser. You can't do a Chromebook without Chrome browser. They announced the OS, 6,000 prototypes. So it's about 4 years ago they started shipping them in any numbers. Now, I read this stuff to people at the bottom, and it's important. Last year, 4.8 million shipped in America, in North America. And worldwide, there were 5.7 million shipped last year. So predominantly North America. And in North America, say that, yes, 3.9 million of those shipped in North America went to US school education. So predominantly the Chromebook is a North American, is an American school device. That's its big market in terms of where it's being sold. And 2014, US told me it's kindergarten to 12th grade. It's American for that time range. Devices shipped 4.8 million Microsoft, 4.2 million Apple, 3.9 million Google. Approximately the same number of devices for each of those areas. And I think that's quite staggering, going from basically nothing to that number in 3 or 4 years. So there's definitely some momentum and interest behind this. So, this is one of the questions that I asked when I got this Chromebook, because I like words and I like reading. And this screen format is not suitable for reading. This is brilliant for reading. So why is it like this? Well, it's for watching videos on YouTube. The most important activity for any mobile device. So that's why it's got the screen now. Any old codgers here? Yeah, that's good. Did you go to the Odeon? Yeah, excellent. What happened to the old Odeon?
Got converted to conference centre, which Microsoft, sorry, Apple conference up there.
Here's the old Odeon of St Albans. Marvellous Archdeacon Palace, dilapidated. Oh, what a shame. Here's another old Odeon. The old Odeon of Heredity, Atticus. When I grew up, I thought Odeon was a name for cinema. It's not. It's the Greek, a place for singing. It's where they did their theatrical or musical performances. And here it is. The old Odeon of Atticus. Now this might not work. Let's try. Yeah. Here we're seeing the old Odeon on the new Odeon. Now, all this is a bit of fun, but I'm making a serious point. First of all, there are deep cultural values involved in things like theatre and then video. Well, movies are a deep cultural value that have an enormous continuity back to the Greeks and before. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that the physical devices for a lot of our communication are no longer theatres. It's these things, particularly for the younger generation. Excellent. So let's go on to the next one if we can. Hey there. What does it? It's this. There we go. Microsoft and Google. How many people remember the browser wars? What were the browser wars? The browser wars was Microsoft threatened by the internet, and they tried to freeze out Netscape Navigator. Which most people don't know, except it's inherited as Firefox. So what happened? Well, we had a stunning success, according to Netscape. Microsoft were prosecuted for bumping the browser with an iOS, and we stopped it. And that's wonderful. Well, simple. Anyway. This is what happened. No, this is what happened. This is the court's finding of fact. And I think the judge did a really good job. Because actually what they've done is the judge has said, here is Google's business strategy. Look at it. It's Google's business strategy. Netscape Navigator, released 1994. This alarmed Microsoft. This is for the people at the back who can't see it. This alarmed Microsoft, which feared that Navigator's enthusiastic reception could embolden Netscape to develop Navigator into an alternative platform for applications development. Well, Microsoft is going to stop that, isn't it? You write software and it's not running on your computer, it's running in your browser. You can't have that happen. No. Here's some more findings of that. Server-based computing. We call it the cloud now. Oh, depreciate the value of selling PC operating systems. Wow. Consumers might one day turn to network computers. Can't do anything with this unless it's connected to the network. They sell them, and people buy them. This is in 1999. But they said, it's not going to happen. Consumers are not likely to do so in appreciable numbers any time in the next few years. That is 15, 16 years ago, I said that. So let's move forward. Remember we started with predictions difficult. So we've gone back 15 years. Now we're going to move forward. Anyone guess? No, I don't think. I'm not going to tell you. Oshkosh, Wisconsin, USA. This is going to be our case study. This is downtown. How many people live there?
20,000.
5,000. Sorry?
5,000.
Okay. 60,000. 66,000. Named after an Indian chief. Important for the lumber industry, lots of forests in Wisconsin. Home of Oshkosh by Gosh, children's apparel, which some of you might have heard of. Started, it doesn't have a long history, unlike British towns. 66,000. 25% of the households have children under 18. I don't think that's unusual, but it's worth remembering. Because every 18-year-old brings in new ideas, new devices and all sorts of other things. School district, 11,000 students in 22 schools, and the University of Wisconsin-Oshkosh, 14,000 students, many of whom will be part-time. Now look at the Chromebooks here, and this is where it's getting really very interesting. Because this is what's happening in one particular time in America. So we'll go through the statistics fairly carefully. They had a referendum for learning. So in the United States, education is governed by the state and then by local government, and the cities have their own police forces, for example. So there's a lot of devolution of power. And they had a local referendum that allowed them to raise local taxes that are higher than the mandated state taxes for education. So you can imagine all the people in favour of this going around petitioning in Oshkosh for this extra funding, some of which was for technology. And they got it passed. They passed that referendum. Extra $4 million for 7 years. Teachers got Chromebooks last year. And they had an ed camp with 300 teachers. That's about 2/3 of the size of this conference. That's big for a town of 7,000 people. More teachers there. Public library lends them for use in the library. You can just go to the library, leave your library card, borrow one of these for 2 hours. Remember how I told you anybody could use it and all your data separate? Yeah. And if all your data's on the cloud, you don't mind that at all, because all your data's on the cloud. You don't have to do anything to transfer your data from one Chromebook to another. It's all there. So here's the population: 12,000 under 18. So 12,000 under 18, 3,000 high school students. That's 1 in 4 having a Chromebook. 1 in 4 of the children under 18 in Oshkosh have a Chromebook, and 25% of the households have somebody under 18. So it's having an impact. But that number is roughly 3 times the US average. I sort of did the calculations on the numbers I've shown you. And the younger grades in Oshkosh are getting them in 2016. So Oshkosh is sort of leading above average, as is below average. But it's an indication as to what's going on. So now comes to the difficult part of this talk, which is the prediction. Well, we ought to remember the past. Famous quote. And there's a report came out earlier this month that said the reality lags behind. Technology is not delivering its promise. It's not bridging the skills divide, and the report suggests we have not yet become good enough at the kind of pedagogists that make the most of the technology. I think that's probably a true result, but it's not a skimpy report. It's got 200 pages. It's been investigated. I think it's worth looking at, but I haven't done it yet. So here's my predictions. Google replaces Microsoft in over half of the USA schools. I don't think that's too unlikely because they're sort of batting about even right now. And a quarter of UK secondary schools. This might be a bit optimistic, particularly as the vendors have got a lot of lock-in with the... So that one might be... Chrome browser is going to be dominant. School education software, primarily Chrome apps. Now, let's think for a moment why that is. They might have a server backend, but why would that be? You're an education supplier, you're making something go into the market. Chrome runs everywhere. And nothing else runs on at least half your market. What are you going to do? And whose strategy is Google following? So that's the sort of reality I think we're going to have 5 years from now in North America. That the people writing education software will be writing it as Chrome apps. It doesn't mean the legacy stuff disappears, but the new stuff, the newly conceived stuff, will be using Chrome apps. Will be in Chrome apps. I see that as likely not what's going to happen. Chrome becomes a major alternative platform for applications development as predicted by the judge in 1998. Or rather, as stopped by Microsoft in 1998. So Microsoft further down the path of becoming the new IBM, who are they? And Google on the path of becoming the new Microsoft. So, opportunities for us. Well, we should act locally, think globally. The US is not the whole of the world. We should respect and build on the work of the One Laptop for a Child project, who are pedagogically well-founded. Pedagogically well-founded. And from teachers learn change pedagogy, not individually, but as a community. Creates a platform for building education apps and educational data sets. I think educational data sets are very important to new pedagogy. Set up a browser as a Learn Python platform somehow. Can we get Python to run in the browser in a sort of useful way and help unlock the classroom safely? Now, this is a Chromebook, and unless you slip it into developer mode, it's pretty useless unless you can connect it to a web server. So it's a bit of a lockdown device. So, anybody gets what's in this bag?
Web server.
Who said, what did you say? Who said web server?
Me!
Several people.
Several people. You're both right! So, let's see what we've got here. We've got a Raspberry Pi. Excellent. We've got a dongle. It's got Ethernet at one end. This is the shortest Ethernet cable in the world. Come on. Here we go. This is the power socket of the Raspberry Pi. Power it from USB. Aha! Luckily, we've got USB. So all this is a dongle. A bit bigger than it needs to be, but it's a dongle. And this is a Chromebook. Now, this demonstration will be slightly disappointing because I will plug this in. And I don't know if you... to unlock the... Yeah, can you see? The red lights. Chrome, this is booting up. I've no idea what it's showing, but it's booting up, and it's connected by the Ethernet. Now, unfortunately, I haven't got all the software sorted out. But this, with the right SD card, is a web server. So we now have a Chromebook connected to the web server, and we can put software on here and access it through the network from the Chromebook. So the Chromebook becomes useless when not connected to a web server. It's the web server you can connect it to. I think this is a cracking opportunity. Particularly as the same problem exists in our schools with Windows PCs. So you can take this, plug it into Windows PC, get everything connected, and then you even got HDMI out, so you can connect it to the same monitor the Windows PC has. Don't have to fiddle with keyboards and mouses and everything. So, final quote from how many people know young kids? Oh, good handful. We'll have everybody's hands up later. There's a body called Xerox PARC, which is a research institute in the 70s. He was a psychologist, he knew about education. He had kids writing software in the 80s, in the 70s, and they developed the interface that became the Macintosh interface. Oh, sorry, that's the recipe for what I just showed you. The best way to predict the future is invent it. I don't think that means what you invent becomes the future. I think what he means by that is, by participating in the invention of the future, you will learn. You learn by participating. So I'm nearly finished. Maybe... Yeah, I have finished. I have finished. Questions? Yes.
Okay, you mentioned that obviously one of the opportunities was Chrome apps. Chrome apps is the thing that makes a Chromebook work when it isn't connected to the network. So basically, you can actually have all these things that collect data offline and you can use offline.
Some of the Chrome apps are simply a link to a website wrapped as a Chrome.
That's one thing, but obviously
they can run offline, yes.
Yeah, but the idea is for them to.
Yeah. The idea is they run offline, and then when you go online, they see.
So it becomes more like an app. So yeah.
Yeah.
So you said the opportunity is in Chrome apps, but then you actually a server. What's the server connecting to itself? So obviously, if it's just a server, yes.
Okay. The thing is, not necessarily to provide a connection to the internet. The idea of having this is, suppose you want to run software that you can't run on the Chromebook.
Okay.
So I use typesetting software. Provide typesetting software on a server.
Right.
The Chromebook can use it. Or provide the website development environment. Or provide real Python. Or whatever you want. So this is a platform, this is a sneak that allows you to run software essentially on the Chromebook.
So what you can see then is probably that thing being distilled down into a little, shaped thing.
Well, I think it should
be as a USB key.
Yeah, it could be. There's a company that did something a bit similar. But I think actually keep it as a Raspberry Pi because that's useful. But make all the other bits much smaller. Yes?
Do you think that this is kind of a substitute for a general purpose computer that you attach to what would be a general purpose computer if it weren't so locked down? So that it would, in principle, be more effective to just have one that you can use for whatever you want without having to have the extra bit. So basically, is the purpose of this to latch on to the Chromebooks with a component that people are free to use as they wish?
Yeah. I mean, there are reasons why Chromebooks are locked down, and good reasons for various people. But this says, okay, the Chromebook's locked down, we're going to use it as a dumb terminal for this thing, which is a real computer, because you can program it and download software on it and develop software on it. So this is the real computer, and this is the dumb terminal.
But wouldn't it make sense to just have real computers instead?
Well, then they would be popular in schools.
Yeah.
The attraction to those is that they're locked down. That's why schools are using them so much.
The management cost of these devices is low. What it means is that this, you see, what you can do is you can have a cart, in a school you have a cart with 30 Chromebooks on them, you put the Chromebooks in the cart, at the beginning of the lesson you dish them out, and at the end of the lesson you bring them back in again, and it doesn't matter which Chromebook which student gets. And the student can't do any harm to the Chromebook, you can't do anything malicious, you don't have virus. Microsoft, Google will say, this is secure, this doesn't have the Microsoft virus problem. It's a secure operating system. I've slipped it into developer mode. I wouldn't do my banking on a Chromebook that was in developer mode that wasn't my own. On the other hand, I'm not sure I do it on anybody else's Chromebook, but as a lockdown device, it has a benefit.
Right.
I mean, I think that's the important point to recognise, even though from another point of view you're completely right. Why do you need... Now that's, apparently in Spookville, there were people who had to have 4 or 5 computers on their desk, all air-gapped, to do their work. Because they're doing their spooky work here, and their HR work here, and their not very spooky work here. And they had to have multiple computers. So it's a similar sort of reasoning. Yeah?
The phrase "let me Google that for you" sort of bubbles into my mind. Actually, it's somebody apparently has got quasi-native Python going on Chromebooks since November 2014. My initial thought was, I wonder if Jython could be of any assistance, but of course the little sods have gone and banned the Java plugin from Chronos. But there is apparently some manner of Python.
Yeah, but there's something from MScript that runs. It's got to be something that works for pedagogy. And I don't know what does and doesn't.
Yeah, there is a version of Python that runs, and it's like sort of runs it in the browser like JSON.
Python anyway.
Yeah, but it actually does. You type in Python, it executes in the browser.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the pedagogy and some resources
The what?
about the pedagogy and the resources about it for teaching with Python? Not necessarily for the Chromebook, but some of the stuff you mentioned in passing.
I can't, I'm afraid, because it's not my area. But I'm saying it's an important area, but it's not really my area. Yeah.
You mentioned earlier on the PC project, you said we should learn from it, and then you said what I wasn't expecting you to say next, which made it sound like a really good project. And from my perspective, I think that when you get disaster in the international development sector by working, it's generally regarded as the way not to do things. It's generally very computers that are painted green out of the really work. But what was it that you liked about the project that you thought we should learn from?
Well, they did it in an open way. I think that's... Or to put it another way, if you think OLPC was bad, maybe you should wait to see what Chromebooks are like. Yeah. I'm not being recorded now.
Have you given any thought to the cost breakdown between, say, providing a child, say, a Chromebook and the Ethernet password adapter and the various cabling and stuff with their Raspberry Pi versus the sort of Motorola laptop price point, and whether or not that Chromebook approach might be a more cost-effective way of doing it?
Chromebooks are effective because they reduce administration costs, and there's no fiddling around when you start the lesson, and you've got remote administration and all sorts of other stuff. I have to say, I'm a beginner. The only reason I'm in this, the only reason I gave this talk is I needed a new laptop, and this thing gave me the hardware I wanted. And then I thought, oh, how is it that this device came into being? And I dug into that, and that's where this talk came from. It's me digging into that, and saying, well, why did this device come in? It's exactly what I wanted. Do I have to finish now because it's somebody else's turn? It is. If you want to hack with me on getting this dongle to work or anything else along these lines, get in touch with me. The slides will appear on my GitHub account.